Hello Hammondites and Leslie Files, Jim Alfredson here. We're going to be reviewing today the new mini vent from Neo Instruments. And I'm going to put it through its paces and tell you how it works. Okay, just a quick explanation of the two different ventilators that are available now. Unlike the original ventilator, the mini vents are not switchable between organ and keyboard mode. They're actually two separate units. So this one is for organ, as it says, and contains the amp simulation. This one is for guitar and doesn't contain the amp simulation because your guitar amp is supposed to give you that tone. And so they're two different boxes this time. So if you want the one for your clone wheel or for your Hammond organ or any other organ, and you want that amp simulation, you need a 4-organ model. Alright, so here we are with the mini vent for organ from Neo Instruments. This is brand new. This takes the algorithms from the original ventilator and puts them in a smaller package with a little less control, but still the great sound. Before we get started, let's just go over the inputs and outputs here, the connections. We have output left, output right, which is your mono output if you're running this in mono into your speaker or PA system. AB is the presets. There's two presets which are programmable, user programmable, and saved in flash memory, so when you turn it off, you don't have to reprogram it. The input jack, which is a mono input jack from your clone wheel or organ. In this case, I have it hooked up to my 1954 C2, Hammond C2. And then we have the 12-volt DC power input. It uses a small little wall wart. It's only about this big. Not too bad. So, and we have bypass and slow fast, and if you press both of them together, there's the stop speed. You can see the little LEDs which represent the rotors, the low rotor and the high rotor, are now stopped. And if you press slow fast again, you go back into fast mode. There's slow mode. Cool, huh? And bypass is right there. And you'll notice that these switches don't click like the old ventilator switches. They're silent. That was a complaint from some people that they didn't like the clicking sound, so these do not click anymore. There's a little electrical click when you bypass the ventilator, but that's due to it being a true analog bypass. But there's no click from the button itself. That's just from the input and output stages. All right, so let's see what it sounds like before we dig in too far. Here's just a common Jimmy Smith setup on the organ, and I'm going to go on the A preset, which I think I set up to be a little bit cleaner. Yeah, and let's see what it sounds like. And now we'll go to the B preset, which I think I put more drive on, so it gets a little grungier. That is pretty grungy. And of course, if you increase the input into the unit, you can get even more grunge out of it. I have the output of the Hammond running into a small mixer so I can control how much is going into the vent. If I turn that up ever so slightly, we'll get even more grunge. I think I was clipping my input channel just a bit there in Cubase so that you might have heard a little pop. That was not from the vent, that was from me clipping the input just a hair. Okay, so go back to the A preset, which is my cleaner preset. How do you change the presets? The old vent had 5 knobs. In fact, let me go grab it real quick. I'll pause the video and we can compare them side by side. Okay, so here we are back with the old ventilator, new ventilator. So the old one had 5 controls: speed, acceleration, balance, drive, and distance. On the mini vent, you have control over the drive and distance. The other 3 are preset and you can't change them. Okay, so how do we change the drive and distance? Well, it's actually quite simple. The first thing we do is unplug the unit, right? And then we plug it back in while holding the slow and fast button, like this. Now I release it, and see, now we have the flashing yellow and red LED. They're no longer going in and out as if they are virtual rotors. They are just flashing. 3 flashes each. I am on the A preset, which means the button is out. If the button's pushed in, that's the B preset. You can see they change now. The LEDs change to represent the new settings. Okay. So what does this mean? Well, this LED, the yellow one, represents the drive, the overdrive. The red represents the distance of the mics from the rotors. The mini vent has 5 levels for each of these parameters that you can choose from. And the way you change them is by pressing either the bypass or the slow fast. Okay? To change the overdrive, which is represented again by this yellow LED, you press the bypass button. Right now it's on 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. See how it's flashing 3 times? If I press it once, now it's continuously flashing. That's level 4. If I press it again, that's level 5. It's solidly lit. That means you're at the top level, level 5. That's the most overdrive you can get. If I press it one more time, it'll cycle back to level 1, which is represented by 1 flash. Level 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Level 3, back where we were. So level 3 is like this. You can hear just a little bit of grunge there. If I go to level 5, check this out. Now, of course, I can get even more overdrive if I input more signal into the ventilator. I have the output of this C2 connected to a small mixer over here off camera, and I'm going to turn up the gain just a little bit to get a little bit more overdrive out of the vent. I was clipping my inputs there just a bit, so I turned it down, but here's the top amount of overdrive you can get. I'm trying not to clip my inputs in Cubase. But you can see it gets pretty gnarly there. Okay, so that's the overdrive. I'm going to set it back to 3. 1, 2, 3, 1. Yep, 1, 2, 3. Now, to set the distance of the mics, we use the slow fast button, which is represented, the parameters represented by the red LED. And the higher the number of flashes, the more distant the mic. I'm going to change it and you'll hear what I mean. Let's put it all the way, the top amount of distance. All right. And I'm going to change it to 1, and you should hear a big difference. So that's how the presets work. So we set these up where we want them. That's the A preset. Now we switch the switch, and now we're on the B preset. We can set that. I already have it set where I want, so I'm going to keep it how it is. A is kind of less grunge. B is more grunge. And to save that to the flash memory, you just press and hold both buttons down until it goes back into rotor mode. And there we go. Now it's saved. And if I switch between A and B while holding a note, you'll hear it change. There we go. One other thing I should note is when it comes to the stop speed, which you get by pressing both buttons, when you go back to movement out of stop, it goes back to whatever you were in before. So for instance, I was in the slow speed before. If I press slow fast, it goes back to slow. If I'm in the fast speed, and then go to stop, and then go back, it goes back into fast. Pretty slick. And I should mention that stop always stops the virtual rotors facing the virtual microphone, so you don't get that sound of the rotor away from the mic. When I'm in stop mode, you can really hear what the ventilator does to the character of the organ. Here's bypass. And here's the ventilator. You can really hear that woodiness of the Leslie cabinet. It's a great simulation. So I'm going to play a little bit more, and then I think we're pretty much done with this video. That's really all there is to say. It sounds great. Easy to use, small, built like a tank, and what more could you want? So let me play a little bit with the overdrive, and you can get some pretty good rock tones out of this thing. So there you have it, the mini vent for organ. Thanks a lot for watching.